everyone to the regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting, Ames Community College. Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. I'm Lyle Oxiger, Chair, and I call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And that motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the June 6, 2023 District Board Special Meeting? Item B, the minutes of the June 6 to 7, 2023 District Board Retreat. And item C, the new policy 504 ethical conduct. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would so move.
I have a motion.
Second that.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have any public comment? Okay, thank you, Zach. We have no public comment today. Next is presentations from guests and representatives to the board. First is Excellence at Ames. Kelly Jackson, Foundation Executive Director.
Good afternoon, Chair Oxinger, trustees, Dr. Bornstein, audience. It's always amazing when you uncover and look for an Ames alum in our region. It's like mining for diamonds. These hidden gems can be found everywhere. Once found, they shine brightly and cannot be missed. As I network in the community, I often uncover many hidden gems, not just the alumni that we generate, but those who serve them. Recently, I discovered the Frontier House. It's over on 8th and 14th on the east side of Greeley. It's a local nonprofit clubhouse supporting individuals who experience mental health issues. It gives them a day place with a goal, a caring environment, and a way to achieve their dreams. It's really amazing. I spent an hour and a half there and could have spent all day. They want to serve you lunch. They want to make you lunch. Everybody has a role. There are no janitors. Everyone cleans up after themselves. It's just an environment that is so charming and gives them that opportunity that they may not have grown up with. Doesn't matter how old they are. They're there to support that. It's kind of like Ames. We're here to support them as well. So that gem on the east side of Greeley generates the diamonds that we don't often see unless we've been digging for them. So I quickly learned how close they have a relationship with Ames. They actually have an on-site coordinator. As I asked, I said, so how do you connect with Ames? Oh, here he comes. John walks in the door and he says, I know so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so at Ames. And so they are working to help their members of the clubhouse have access to Ames. It was so rewarding to be able to hear that because that's what I do too. And it was fun to be able to make that connection. As I spoke to the executive director of Frontier House, she told me she was an Ames alum. I was like, yay, awesome. Who else? Do you have any members that are alum? And she says, absolutely. You've got to meet Noelle. Her story. It's so cool. You've got to hear it. Well, it just so happened that the person we had originally cultivated for today's presentation could not make it. And so I reached out to Noelle very last minute and asked her if she could take a break from her work day and her cute little puppy and come on over and share her story. And there was no hesitation. She said, absolutely. So these diamonds that are generated at the Frontier House also collaborate with Ames and they become greater, brighter gems. Today, I proudly announce Diamond Extraordinaire, Ames alum, Noelle Roden, class of 2023. Through support from the Frontier House and a variety of Ames staff and faculty, Noelle is proud to share she's an Ames alum. Not everybody thinks that will ever be a goal, and she gets to share how that became her goal. Please welcome Noelle as she shares the story of her success.
My name is Noelle Roden. I graduated Ames this year in May. And it has been such a great experience for me. I now have a degree in graphic design. And I now work at Top Shelf Printers, and it has been such a great experience. When I first started Ames, the connections for independent living said I could never go to college. Like it just would never work out, but I proved them wrong. And I graduated. But when I was working through all of my classes, it was very difficult. And there was a hard for me to try to find tutors, but I worked very hard to pass all my classes. I have never failed any of them. And I just really appreciate Ames Community College. If I believe that anybody can go to college if you try your hardest and work really hard, because that's what I did, and I graduated. And I was also born in Russia, and Ames has just been such a great experience, and the teachers in graphic design have been so helpful to me and really helped me out, and also the other students. And I recommend other people to come to Ames to do what they feel like they want to go into, like their own career. And I just want to say thank you, Ames, so much. It has been life-saving. And I also wanted to thank Shanna McCaslin, because she has helped me so much through this journey, and thank you.
Noelle, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
You epitomize what Ames is all about. And it's people like you who want to succeed and who want to make something of their lives. And that's what Ames is. That's what we stand for. So thank you for sharing your story. And we're very, very proud of you. We're very happy for you. And we wish you all the luck in your career as you move forward.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on your
Thank
degree.
you.
And this is just a little parting gift for you. I mean,
you.
take this, and if you, I could, oh, there, I found the
Thank
handle
you.
for it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you take
Thank
care.
you.
Favorite part of the meeting. Okay, continuing with representatives to the board. First is Student Government Association. Jared, is it Polito? Polito. Welcome, Jared.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the board, cabinet members, Chair Oxiger, and Dr. Bornstein. I'm the newly appointed student government president, and it's a privilege for me to be here and share this time with you. Before I begin, I want to introduce myself a little bit. Again, my name is Jared Polito. I'm from Simi Valley, California. Above all else, I'm a proud single father of a 9-year-old son. Being a positive influence for him is a priority of mine, and I aim to lead by example. Balancing parenthood with my other roles has been very challenging, but it's something I would not trade for the world. And in addition to being a dad, I'm an Army veteran. I got my GED in 2008 and then just instantly started working with a recruiter. I left for basic training at the start of 2010. After I finished basic training, I was able to go to Virginia for schooling as a mechanic. After I finished my mechanic schooling, I've been fortunate enough to travel to Virginia, South Carolina, South Korea, and Washington State. After that, after I finished my contract, I moved back home to California and I became a union iron worker. Sometime later, life led me here to Colorado. And then I joined the oil fields and I was a senior operator in the oil fields. And then due to numerous things happen, I had 3 surgeries and various life events happen. I really wanted to change career paths and I became interested in Ames, which was the local community college. And college has always been scary for me because I'm a first-generation college student. Nobody in my family has ever attended college. I wanted to set an example for my son and also personally grow myself. So this led me to Ames, where I got accepted into the Ames into UNC, and now I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology. My goal is to work with troubled youth or work in higher education, as since being here, I really love it. I never anticipated on becoming the student government president, but I really owe a great deal to my AAA instructor, Denise Pearson, who urged me to engage more on campus and just be involved with everything. And from there, I got introduced to Janet Chase, who has really helped me and get me involved with student life and recognize stuff in me that I didn't initially recognize in myself. I'm really excited for this new team. We all have very great ideas, a lot to bring to the table, and I'm just excited to see the achievements that they have. Over the summer, the incoming student leaders participated in various training sessions, and then we also have been able to host, and we honored to host the first Ames Pride event. The collaboration between SGA CAP and the Greeley Pride played a crucial role in organizing the event. The event was a huge success, and we actually had over close to 500 attendees. This event had various food trucks. We had different entertainment, various tables set up. Student life even had tables, and we hosted handing out Narcan, fentanyl testing strips, menstrual products, donuts, and other snacks. I've received feedback from numerous amounts of students saying that they felt a really big sense of community and were very happy that Ames hosted the event. Furthermore, through the continuous work of those who came before us, Student Life has been able to secure a Student Life Instagram account. And you could find all the details about all of our other events that we've done outlined in your BoT report. But the Instagram account seems to be a really good way for students to connect with Student Life and find out all the events that are happening on campus. Additionally, I'd like to formally invite all of you to the upcoming events that we have for Welcome Week. Those again are outlined in the BoT report. We hope to see you there. Thank you very much. And I truly appreciate your time and sharing this opportunity for you. But before we go, I'd like to take a moment for the new SGA and CAP members to stand up, please. And again, thank you very much for your time, and I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jared, and welcome. Does anybody have any questions of Jared? Dr. Being would like to say a word?
So Jared was a bit modest with regard to representing not only himself, but the student leadership with regard to the Greeley Pride. So from what I understand, and I may get some of these details a little bit inaccurate, so you can correct me. But from what I understand, Greeley Pride was scheduled and then there was a bump in the road. And so the location or something got canceled.
That's correct. It was canceled initially.
And it was the Ames students themselves who said, nope, we'll host it, we'll run it, we'll organize it. And they took the lead to make sure that Greeley had a Pride event. So thank you so much for your leadership, for stepping up, for stepping in, and for being all in as we all are and as you all are. That is what leadership is all about. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think they're off to a great start. All right. Next is Ames Faculty Association. Julie Weingart, welcome.
Thank you so much. As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Dr. Oxiger, Dr. Bornstein, Dr. Rothamer, members of the board, colleagues, families, and friends, good afternoon. Is it really already August 9th? Please tell me it's not. Okay, well, I'm all excited, but I could use a little bit more summer. So although our lazy days of summer are almost over, our fabulous faculty are still making a huge splash in the lives of our students and in our community. So without further ado, let's dive in. Beginning with training and professional development, Rebecca Saylor, professor of humanities, was selected for participation in the Great Questions Summer Teaching Seminar. And I have to ask Rebecca a little bit more about what this means, because this is fascinating to me as I am a proponent for inquiry-based teaching as well as the Socratic method. So this 4-week seminar trained college instructors in the Great Questions approach as a way to help students further engage with challenging texts. In fact, Rebecca said that she even plans on bringing some of the information she learned in this seminar into her humanities class. All right, now we're going to move on to conferences. So we had a team of nursing professors. We have Annie Matt, Jenna Bernclaw, April Fulton, and Katrina Einhelling presented at the nursing conference this summer. And in fact, the entire nursing faculty gave a pre-conference entitled Teaching the Teachers, DEI in Nursing Education. Furthermore, Linda Carlson, a part-time professor of early childhood education, attended the Executives Partnering to Invest in Children conference in Denver, where the topic was culturally and linguistically responsive teaching. And she also attended a series of sessions on resilient futures training. What I find most fascinating about what Linda did is when we look at the mental health of our students, of our society at large, when we can begin to incorporate trauma-based approaches, things that identify this within our classroom, I think she's really got something there. I'd like to talk to her a little bit more about that. Finally, Laura Killen-Wing, professor of early childhood education, presented at the Early Childhood Building Blocks Conference here in Greeley on June the 3rd. It was sponsored by the United Way of Weld County. And again, we're looking at strategies to help guidance techniques in the classroom for children. Finally, we're going to move on and make the biggest splash of all with the ripples. And we're going to start with Meg Spencer. I'm sure we all know who Meg is, our FTLC learning coach. So Meg has a wonderful way of inspiring our faculty through her PLC weekly sessions. Meg is very knowledgeable and she has a passion for seeing the faculty succeed both personally and professionally. And in case not everyone knew, Meg was actually voted our distinguished colleague in May of this year. That's what I call a cannonball. All right. Cheryl Comstock, our learning experience designer, also had a ripple. She was had been an amazing asset to the ECE team, where they have been trying to move over 90% of their texts from textbook actually to OER. Cheryl is supportive, understanding, and supplies challenges to help make the best of classes for our students. Ellen Sweeter, professor of business technology, was so great in helping the new accounting embedded tutor position. She was very flexible when we had originally planned to be face-to-face and then had to move to Zoom. She was a joy to work with And I hope we found the best candidate. And I will second that about Ellen. She is a joy to work with. All right, finally, Amy McFarland, Professor of Agriculture, and Megan Blazer, Program Coordinator for Agriculture. Ames' second annual High School Science and Technology Camp, the Battle of Engineering, Science and Technology. That sounds quite fun. Was an incredible success this year, as Amy and Megan's contributions were critical to the success and ensured that the attendees had a wonderful experience. Any questions for me as I wrap up our report for August the 9th?
Any questions? Well, Julia, thank you so much for your wonderful report. We enjoyed it as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
And last but not least, Mr. Ross Perkins, Ames Staff Association. Welcome, Ross.
Well, here we go again. Another wonderful year upon us. I hope everybody had a great summer. Chair Oxinger, welcome. Dr. B, board members, guests in the audience and online. I hope everybody had a great summer. We are looking forward to a wonderful year with the Ames Staff Association, but we have some things we want to report out from the summer. We had a great summer, and I think some of y'all were there. First and foremost, I want to just shout out to the Explorer Academy, which is our fire science academy. A couple of folks that really make this happen. First, I want to shout out to Heather Logan, who is our coordinator. Ronnie Rydell, who's another coordinator, and John Madugo, who's our director for Fire Academy. They really help support that. But more importantly, Jason Oster, who is from Greeley Fire, and Devin Saxberry, who's from Loveland Fire. Those are the two folks that really run that academy. And if you read in your packet what that academy is about, we had 32 students in there. We had a lot of volunteers from fire departments around this area to help support that program. So I want to give all those folks a shout out for that. Just an incredible event for our Explorer Academy folks. We had the 13th annual car show, which I hope everybody got to go see over on the Windsor campus. A couple of folks I want to recognize, Kimberly Johnson and Larry Baker, and for helping get that organized, getting that started, running it that day. It was a huge event. I was on a golf cart driving people back and forth all day long, nonstop, probably close to 1,000 people throughout the whole day. So an incredible to Kimberly and Larry and all the folks over at the automotive team just to put this on. So an incredible event. Another shout out I want to give is to Paul LaFleur. Paul LaFleur is our director for the paramedic program over on the Windsor campus, and he recently submitted his continuing self-study report. That's not what I want to report out on, because that's an accomplishment on itself. But what I want to report out is he got a phone call from the director of the accrediting agency, just complimenting him on the detail of his report, the quality of the report. She was just excited. I wish I had the recording with me right here. I think Dr. Moreland does. So if you want to listen to it, she'll have it for you. It was just an incredible report that he did. That's just going to help us continue to grow that program and things like that. So I just want to give Paul LaFleur a big shout out for the incredible work that he did. And then finally, I always like to look through the ripples that are submitted and look for a theme. And this time I found a really great theme, and that was all of the incredible folks that had the College for Kids support for this year. Everybody chipped in, worked hard from the administrators to the instructors to volunteers and everything. So I just want to give everybody who worked and got the College for Kids this year a great event, and I just want to give them a shout out. That's really all I have to share. I'm looking forward to sharing more things from the Ames Staff Association this year, and we're going to have some incredible things happening. So I will keep you updated next month. Any questions?
No questions? Well, thank you as always, Ross. Great
All right.
report. Appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day.
You bet. See you next time. Okay, we can still continue. At this point, the board will adjourn into executive session excuse me, as allowed by Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402, parent 4, parent B, the board will adjourn into executive session to receive legal counsel. I will need a motion to adjourn to executive session.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. So we'll adjourn to executive session. Jerry, are we going down to where we had lunch?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be held down there.
So I'll meet you there. The rest of you folks, pardon us for taking time to do this, but it's necessary. We will return here and to continue with the action items. So hopefully we will see you in not too awful long a period of time. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Okay, we're back from executive session and I need a motion to adjourn back into regular session. I don't? Okay, we're good to go then. All right, we'll continue with the meeting with the action items. The first action item, item A, board priorities, 2023 to 2024. And Jerry, I think let me bring this up here. Get caught up after these. Okay, we discussed these at the retreat, the 2023-24 board priorities. And I'll just read them. Priority A was continue the professional growth of the trustees of Ames Community College. Identify specific work session topics that inform the board and provide opportunities for in-depth discussions. Continue participating in local and national professional development. And C, keep up to date with trends regarding higher education and governing boards and higher education current events and trends. Capital B, prepare for, onboard, integrate, and develop new board members. And capital C, build a cohesive, high-functioning governing board that models respect, trust, and positive working relationships. These were developed after considerable discussion. And I think we all, it was certainly a consensus at the time that we agreed upon them and we would consider them over the summer and up until this meeting. So with that, I will ask her if there's any further comments on them or any questions. None? Try to live up to it. Oh, yeah. All the confidence in the world. So if there are no questions or no comments, I would entertain a motion to approve the board priorities 2023 to 2024 as presented.
I so move that we approve the board priorities for years 2023, 2024.
Thank you, Gene. I have a second from Mark. There's no further comments. I'll ask the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And that motion carries. Item B, under action items, CEO President's term of contract. So I would ask for a motion to approve the amendment to the president's contract as discussed in executive session. And ask for a motion.
I move to approve action item A to B, the president terms of contract.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
But I would like it noted I abstained from that vote.
I would so request as well. Thank you.
So are you abstaining, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 3 yes, 3 ayes and 2 abstentions. Motion carries. Item C, CEO President's Goals. So the president's goals were presented and discussed at the retreat. And I'll read those as presented here in your packet. The CEO's president's goals for 2023, 2024. Item A, development of the 2024 to 2027 strategic and tactical plan. Item B, onboard, integrate, and develop new cabinet members. And item C, onboard, integrate, and develop new board members. Are there any comments or questions on the president's goals? Any comments? Go ahead.
New cabinet members would be your immediate cabinet, am I correct? The front row. And new board members? That would be your role to solicit for those. Okay.
Okay, then if there's no questions or comments, I'd ask for a motion to approve the CEO president's goals for 2023-24.
I'd move to approve president's goals for 2023-2024 as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
And I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. And that motion carries. Thank you. Item D, strategic statements for 2024, 2027 strategic plan. Dr. Bornstein, I ask you to present this item.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. So we're very excited to be at this stage. You might recall back in January when you all had a retreat and you formed and created and took action in February on our new purpose, vision, mission statements and updated value statements. And you might recall that there's a Gantt chart with process timeline. You'll also recall at your retreat, I had brought forward some draft language of 2 strategy statements for the 24 to 27 strategic plan that were created from 120 pages of notes from both Conversation Day, which several of you participated in, and the Cabinet Listening Tour. From that date of your retreat, when I presented that draft language, those strategy statements were also vetted through our College Council feedback forum throughout the college for about 3 weeks to 3.5 weeks. I got some feedback from the college community and made a couple really minor edits. The integrity and intention of those strategy directions remain, but the language you'll see might look slightly different from what you saw in June. However, and I will read them out loud so that everyone can hear them. So strategy 1, aims supports learners throughout the recruitment, enrollment, and retention journey by streamlining processes and extending opportunities. Strategy 2, proposed strategy 2, aims provides innovative, transformative, and flexible campus and coursework experiences for learners and workplace experiences for employees. So today we bring before you those 2 strategies. For your action, the administrative recommendation is to approve those strategies, and the college will then continue on throughout its process. The next steps would be to identify objectives to meet those strategies, and those would be college-wide conversations. And then we move through that process, informing the board as we move through this year and those processes. So again, administrative recommendation is to approve the proposed 2024 to 2027 strategic plan strategies as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Bornstein. Are there any questions or comments? Any discussion at all? Marilyn?
I do actually have a question just in being in that first part of that strategy discussion. Do these, because I'm trying to think of the current strategy map that was done 5 years ago. Do you update do you stay focused on the two that are presented for the duration?
These strategy statements are the umbrella direction for the institution for 3 years. Under these strategy statements, we're proposing there would be objectives on how to reach those, and then what initiatives would be occurring to reach those statements.
That's a
So we
visual
stay
aid.
focused on
Thank
that.
you.
Now, that doesn't mean things don't happen
Sure.
and we roll with it. But this is the focus for the 3 years.
That's the visual I needed. Thank you.
Heidi?
I do have one question. It was similar to Marilyn's. Thank you for asking that. I needed the visual, what comes after this.
Mhm.
On the plan that you've just accomplished, how many strategies do we have? We had more
We had
than,
3 strategies.
but it was a 5-year.
It was a 5-year plan. Yep. So the numbers that I've been using for 5 years is 3-12-62. We had 3 strategies, 12 objectives, and 62 initiatives or tactics. One of the significant requests from many college members, employees, and colleagues have been, can we get a little bit more focused? So therein lies our 2 strategies. At the same time, it's a nice, it's a dance, I guess, because the college then talks about what are the objectives to meet these strategies and what are the tactics or initiatives to meet those objectives. Throughout those conversations, you really want to stay as open as possible, but then at the same time, at one point, then we need to have what I recently learned as a wonderful term, ruthless prioritization of those initiatives so that we don't end up with another 62 initiatives. So it will be a vetting, a culling and a vetting and a culling and a vetting process as we move forward. But we are presenting 2 so that we can be pretty focused on what's coming up.
Yes,
I
go ahead.
really like the strategies. The strategies are 2 totally, completely different arenas. And I could see where there's a lot of objectives and initiatives that could go under each of them. So hats off to everyone. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, what goes underneath those strategies is amazing. We had, how many tactics did we have last time? 600 and some?
62.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, no, we had more.
Keep in mind, some of those tactics were huge. So remember, one tactic in and of itself was that ERP implementation.
Oh, that's right.
That some institutions actually have just that as their strategic plan for years. Yeah. So we look at big projects.
Very aggressive. Okay, thank you. If there's no other comments or questions,
We're still on purpose vision. I just got a small thing. Should there be a comma after knowledge and skills?
What item are you?
Provide knowledge, skills, and support services.
Yes, on this version, there should be. So we'll make sure that there is. Provide knowledge, comma, skill. That's, yeah, thank you.
Might not need the comma after skills,
Yeah.
but
No, I think actually in the actual version that you took action on back in February, there is a comma there. This one, we
just got missed. Okay,
just move the comma.
consider it caught. Okay, so there's nothing else. Do I have a motion to approve the strategy statements for 2024 to 2027 strategic plan?
I would make a motion,
I'll second.
as you just stated.
Okay, thank you, Jane. And we got a second from Mark. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. And away we go. Okay, next, information items. Events calendar and upcoming work session agenda items. Jerry, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Oxiger. First item in your packet under this item is the events calendar. I won't go through all of them. There are quite a few coming up, but I wanted to highlight a few here just as reminders because they are coming up rather soon. And those are the fall-in events on the different campuses. So you'll note there, August 30th is the Greeley Fall-In, September 6th is Loveland, September 12th is Windsor, and September 14th is Fort Lupton. These don't require any sort of RSVP. I just wanted to remind you all that if you wanted to attend those, you certainly can. So I wanted to put that reminder out there. Next, we'll move on to the annual calendar of events. Looking ahead to next month, the September board meeting will be out at the Flight Training Center. So that's just a reminder, it will be out at the Flight Training Center. During that meeting, during the work session, is the joint meeting with the foundation board. So that is when that takes place every year. So we look forward to that. And then you'll see there are a few other standing items during the work session. We've got the facilities master plan update from Mike Millsaps and his team. And then action on designating hearing officers, and then hearing the assessment report and the sabbatical reports from those who are coming off of sabbatical. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Jerry. Any questions of Jerry? One other thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this Saturday coming up is Aviation Day. Is that correct? I'll just remind everybody, if you haven't been to that, it's a great event. I was there last year. It's well worth going. So. Okay, next, back to you, Jerry. Elections update.
Thank you, Chair Oxiger. I put together a little bit of an update, a written update for your packet. I won't go through all of that in detail, but I will highlight some pieces of that for you here today, and then of course answer any questions. As a designated election official, I'm coordinating the election for the 3 board seats that are coming up this fall. Those are District A, District B, and District E. And I'm coordinating that election with our different counties, Weld County, Adams, Broomfield, Larimer, Logan, and Morgan, to make sure that everything goes smoothly throughout the fall. A call for nominations has been placed in area newspapers within the Ames district, and they will begin publishing today into next week at those different newspapers as they're available to be posted, and that part is a legal requirement. Information is also being posted on the Ames Board of Trustees website as well. Candidate packets and nomination petitions are available by contacting me in the president's office, and petitions can, for those who have picked up candidate packets, petitions can be circulated beginning today through September 1st at 3 p.m. That's when all materials have to be submitted back to me in the president's office before people can be added to the ballot. And then as a reminder, election day is Tuesday, November the 7th. Do I have any questions?
Hey, thank you, Jerry. Next on the agenda is new program proposal template discussion. Dr. David Ayler, Vice President of Academic Affairs. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair Oxinger, board members, Dr. Bornstein, and guests. We were asked earlier this spring to come back with a template for new program proposals, and the Academic Affairs leadership team went through the last half dozen or so proposals that we had submitted and looked at what was included in those, and we've created this template, which we believe will provide the information that you typically want and questions that get asked as we bring forward new program proposals. And so the first section of this is the feasibility overview. We added when would the program start? That was something we thought we typically didn't provide that you might want to know. Some enrollment projections and courses by year. Typically, our programs are not 4-year, but we just have in the template, we'll just use whatever space we need and delete the rest. And on the third page, there would be just a listing of all of the courses related to the program. Then another section on singling out the general education courses. And then finally, some cost information at the end. And I invite you to either hear, or if you think of something later, let me know if this looks like an acceptable form for future program proposals.
Thank you. I did not wait for a comment, but thank you for putting this together. I think that was, as we were going through program review of what all is nice to see and typically more need to know. I thought this looked great.
Well, thank you. We think this will be very helpful to us in doing our background and making sure that we've included everything. So we appreciate that you all asked us to do this. And I just will add, as we go forward, if we find there are other things that should be modified, we'll be happy to modify it as needed.
Okay,
Thank you.
no other questions? Thank you very much. So next is the high school programs report. Dr. Ayler. Okay,
We have workforce and then high school, I believe.
I guess workforce report.
Okay, I'm going to,
Hold on one second.
I think
Usually
my,
you introduce the president's report, so I just want to make my 2-sentence statement that I
Oh, I'm
can say
sorry.
right here. So
I'm sorry, I missed the header
Hold on
there.
one
I
second.
apologize.
No, that's okay. So in your packets, you have highlights from, that's okay, it's all right. You have highlights from the cabinet members from their different units. And if you have any questions, now would be certainly the time if you have questions for them specifically on that. Otherwise, today, we have workforce report that Dr. Ayler will present with his team, then high school programs report that Dr. Ayler will present with a different team, and then grants report that Chuck Jensen will present. So are there any questions from the highlight statements that are in your packet? Dr. Ayler.
okay, thank you. I want to introduce Dr. Nick Spezza, who's the Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs and heads up the Workforce Development and Innovation Unit, and he will make the presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayler, Chair Oxiger, members of the board, Dr. B, colleagues. My pleasure to be with you again to present on some of the happenings around workforce development and innovation. And I'm not sure why that, I didn't want to lose that word innovation. It's important to us today. I was very glad to be here for Shannon's presentation this morning and our presentation on August, because I walk around saying we need to operate at the speed of business. And business goes really quickly, but I'm really reminded right now that we need to operate at the speed of life. Life just seems to have gotten faster in every arena. And it's even more important that we stay connected to our members of our community. And so one of the things I do want to highlight is some of the efforts of several of our team members, Heather Lelchuk, Mary Gabriel, and Julie Lukengay. They lead up our satellite campuses. And they stay connected to our communities on a regular basis. And listed in front of you are some of the different organizations that they connect with regularly. And what we're hearing, what I'm hearing from them is they're all trying to figure it out also. I've been a part of several different development conversations in the past 3 months, and they're going, what's the future look like for our region, for our municipality, for our area? And we're all trying to figure that out together. So that's a really great reminder for me to be patient, because I can try to go quickly, which is also a good skill until it's overused. But as our colleagues are out in the community connecting, this information keeps coming back so that we can take action on these strategic items that you've just taken action on. So congratulations on that. And we can fulfill the mission of this institution for all of these different areas of our community. So that's just a quick highlight on some of the work that some of our colleagues do. It's a fairly long list, and that impresses me. Additionally, we have some
partnerships that are just worth talking about. Chevron is a great partner in the community. They provide lots of financial incentives and support, but you can see here there are two wordles, I think we call them. One's in Spanish and one's in English. Chevron has been working through our corporate partners team to offer introductory English courses to the employees of their subcontractors out in the field. So they actually drop a small building out into the middle of nowhere and create a safe space for people to have these classes. And they have the students come in and it's all paid for by Chevron. That you would think is a pretty cool thing in and of itself. That's actually not the point. The point of that training is because there's a safety need. If you're out in the oil and gas fields and someone says, so turn that handle to the left quick, or we're all gonna, you need to know which way left is. So you need to know what that word means. So learning that in English is important. But the management of these groups thought it was so important that they can communicate with these folks that they've started taking Spanish courses as well to meet somewhere in the middle. The whole bill here is being footed by Chevron. Even though all of these other subcontracting teams are benefiting from it, the employees are benefiting from that access to the language learning, which will improve their ability for their careers to advance. But I just thought it was worth sharing. Chevron is a really, not only a good corporate partner through trainings with us, but they're trying to take care of the health and safety of that environment and all of the folks that are operating in it. And that's pretty cool. Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm supposed to look to the chair, and I.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Are they doing in-class training or are they doing kind of online, like game format with your phones and doing that way?
It is classroom-based training,
Okay.
but we have been modifying the formats of the courses to be more interactive, to align with the needs of those work schedules and the way that they work. So there is some online components to it, not fully gamified, but there are online components in addition to the class training. We've added a tutoring component because not everybody can make every session because of the type of work
Right.
they do, to keep people moving forward and getting some of those skills accomplished. Yeah, it's a good question.
Thank you.
Moving forward. This year, the state passed a grant to support students in non-degree credential earnings. And so I know there's a lot of text on this page, but the point is we received about $90,000 to pay for CDL trainings in our CDL program. So this year, 32 students had to pay $500 for their CDL licenses. The regular price is about $3,500. So they each received a $3,000 grant to help them complete. And that's really helping these students complete a program that will put them to work without any debt. Super cool. And here are the numbers for the past few years of the CDL program. You can see the growth over the years. We served about 170 students this last year. And I want to thank you again for allowing us to move the time of year that we present this information to you, because this is now a complete year's cycle. And so I can now stand here and say last year we did, or I can't say, or was going to say last time, well, part of the year was like this, but really we expect, this is your numbers and they look good. This is also important. If you follow this from left to right over the past few years, the maps aren't exactly the same, but you'll see an expansion of who's taking the CDL training courses, and it's an increase into us serving our entire service area. That's the point I was hoping that this image would make for you all. And that is true for all of the different programs in this slide deck. I didn't want to replicate this because that's a lot of space. Continuing education also had significant growth, serving 1,372 people this last year in a very regional way across all of our campuses. We run an American Heart Association training center, and we served 775 people through that training center, which means we've delivered the training ourselves in some instances. In other instances, there are people out doing the work and they use us to provide the certification. And we have had activity in our state training grants and our corporate training contracts this year. So this is the first year where in the recent data that I can show you a full picture of what this unit has been able to accomplish this year. And this is unduplicated numbers. So in some of those contracts, you would actually have seen several hundred employees get trained for different types of courses, but the individuals are represented there. I went pretty quickly because I know it's a lot of data and that's what you're supposed to do, right? Yeah. Questions?
How's our revenue stream compared to the cost stream?
I can't talk to the cost stream exactly, but I can say for this unit that I presented on today, we're up about $500,000. We've served, if I include the high school programs, which Ray will talk about in a minute or two, we're up serving about 1,200 students and overall about $500,000 of revenue. Just revenue. I don't have a P&L document to refer to for you.
Somebody else?
More to come in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. Next, high school programs report. This is the annual report that I know Trustee Howitt always gets excited about, and I think you have a hard copy spiral bound at your place. And Dr. Ayler is going to present that with his team.
Good afternoon again. I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Ray Chard, who's the Executive Director of High School Programs, and he will do the presentation on high school programs.
Chairperson Oxinger, Board of Trustees, Dr. B, colleagues, and of course the Zoomies online. Thanks for being here today for I could share a little bit with you all today. High school programs. I'll start with this. It's always alphabet soup with the high schools, so just know this. If it's a program at the state, we work with them. It's that simple. So if you get questions about Ascent, TREP, ILOP, all of these funny acronyms that we have at the state level, the good news is the answer is yes. Ames Community College has partnerships in all of those various areas. For us, it's easy to just call it concurrent enrollment. That's sort of the blanket term that we use in the state of Colorado. High school students that are concurrently enrolled in a post-secondary experience, earning credit for both their high school experience and their college experience at the same time. But we have a few more that I think are worth mentioning here. We have the Early College Academy, which of course is our fully integrated high school partnership with District 6. Just down the street, we have about 370 students in that program earning associate's degree. A little bit more on our most recent graduating class here in a minute. We have our P-Tech program, which is our Pathways in Technology Early College program. That is a three-pronged approach between Ames Community College, a high school partner, and industry partners providing students not only education, but on-site work experience. We have 4 P-Tech partners in Northern Colorado. We have a Career Academy program, which is an on-campus based career and technical education program for students to get hands-on learning and skills to ultimately report to job demand needs in our community. And then we have a couple of other programs that are funded through the state of Colorado, things like Ascent and TREP, which ultimately allow students to access free college in years 13 and 14 through this partnership program with the state of Colorado. Not going to be quizzed on any of these. Don't worry, my fine team over here, they're the ones that actually keep track of all of this stuff. So just know that the answer is yes, we have a partnership in one of those programs that are available at the state. Our Early College Academy, of course, one of these flagship schools in Northern Colorado. This is a picture of our most recent graduating class. Just about 70 graduates walked across the stage here a few months ago, our 5th graduating class, and this was the most remarkable class yet. Of this group of graduates, they earned 4,628 college credits, 100% high school graduation rate, and an 87% associate's degree completion rate in 4 years. The national average for for associate's completion rate, well, you can clap after this one. You just wait 1 second. I got one for you. The national average is about 30% of students complete their AA in 4 years. This class did 87%, which is amazing. Now, I have a colleague in this room I have to say thank you to. That is Mr. Ross Perkins, who was there for the entire 4 years of this graduating class. If it wasn't for his blood, sweat, tears, dragging a few students across the stage, calling a few parents, or a lot of parents, this class would have never made it across the stage. So big shout out to Ross for that. Next, let's talk about some reports. 3 years ago, I was able to share with the board a new reporting system that we were using for our high school partners. It's been a tremendous success. And so you have a couple of copies there in front of you. The first is the bounded report. If you have a copy of this, this is the individualized report that we publish for each one of the schools that we are partnered with, that gives each school a one-page snapshot of what their partnership with Ames Community College looks like. How many students are participating, what types of students, what programs they're participating in, their success rates, all of that great stuff, including how much money we're saving schools in our communities. So if you're curious, if you're out in the community, you're meeting people and you're wondering, hey, what are we doing with this school or that school? The answer is it's right here in your report. We also have this information is publicly available on our website as we publish it for each one of our high schools, so that way they have that. The hope is our high schools take this report, they're very proud of their work, and they hand it to their boards and they hand it to their constituents to see how wonderful our partnerships are here in Ames Community College. The other thing that I provided you all with, and this is a 3-year snapshot, is it should be stapled in a piece of paper with 3 pages together. That is the overall macro data for Ames Community College and what our partnership has looked like. And I want to highlight a few things in here. The answer is simple. Business is booming is what's happening in the high school programs world. Here is a 3-year partnership. Here's the 3-year snapshot that we're talking about. And if you look across this top row right here, simply the number of students over the last 3 years has grown tremendously. In 2021, we serviced 2,971 students. That's an unduplicated headcount. All the way across this most recent year, we serviced 3,959 students. So about 1,000 student increase over the course of those 3 years. You can see that the credit growth in that area too, 25,000 credits to 34,000 credits that students earned while in high school in our community over the course of those last 3 years. That growth is really, really impressive. A couple of things, of course, in our last strategic cycle, one of the things that was specifically called out was our career and technical education growth, particularly with our high school partners. So we wanted to pull that data out as well. In 2021, 1,000 students of that 2,900 students, so not quite 50%, but a pretty big chunk participated in a career technical education program, something we're very proud of, noting what the industry job demands in our community are. As you can see from that same snapshot, the growth looks almost identical across the board, servicing 1,400 of those students. Of that 3,900 students were participating in a career and technical education program. So we're talking welding, carpentry, business, nursing, all of those programs. That's what we're doing here, and we do it incredibly well. One of the things too is of that growth, take a look at this. The on-campus growth is growing tremendously. We have more and more high school students spending time in our Ames Community College campuses, enjoying our facilities, enjoying across the campuses. It's hard to tease out the number of students because it's the duplication of the students, but the easiest way I think to look at that is in 2020, 7,000 credits were earned on our campuses. This most recent year, 9,000 credits were earned by high school students on our campuses. So I think that that's a really interesting picture of what we have going on in our growth. And like I said, it's booming. We have partnerships now with just about every school in our service area, up and along the I-25 corridor, and even down towards I-76. This last year, 72 high schools in our region had at least one student taking a class at Ames Community College, just to give you a feel of how big the stretch and the scope and the reach of our program is, which is truly amazing. So I asked my team, I said, hey team, got a chance to talk to the board. I don't get this chance very often here. What would you like the board to know about what we do from the high school programs office? And the theme that we came up across the board was simply this: that concurrent enrollment in high school programs is one of the most efficient and effective ways at Ames Community College that we have to meet our vision, our mission, and our purpose here at Ames Community College. And we wanted to highlight a couple of things. One, the vision, we want it to be a recognized leader. Up at the top here, this is NACEP. This is the National Alliance for Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships. NACEP is the governing, probably the #1 voice in the nation when it comes to concurrent enrollment best practices. Here in a couple of months, hopefully even sooner, NACEP and Ames Community College is publishing a white paper together to highlight some of the best practices, the data governance practices that we have. Our team has been elected to present at multiple national conferences for NACEP, and we're one of the recognized leaders that NACEP goes to showcase the best practices for concurrent enrollment. This logo here, hopefully you're familiar with. Colorado Department of Education has routinely called on Ames Community College to showcase and share our best practices with the state. We hover around the 3rd or 4th largest program in the state of Colorado, just to give you a feel for the size of our program. And we don't service any of the DPS schools. We don't service Denver or Douglas County or Cherry Creek. So we are servicing, we're the 3rd or 4th largest program, and we don't service any of the major metropolitan schools. So I think is really important. We even have one of our team members, Dale Gailey, is an elected member of our concurrent enrollment advisory board at the state level. So represents not only Ames Community College, but represents the state on the concurrent enrollment side of things. When we think about our mission, And we think about the students that we hope to serve, 55% of all of our concurrent enrollment students are non-white students. 32% of them are first generation. So we think about our community and who we're serving in our community. Very proud that we are very reflective of the community that we are trying to serve and hoping to serve, and our numbers are reflected in our concurrent enrollment numbers. And finally, of course, building a stronger community. We talked about the 3,000 students. We talked about the hundreds of credits. 458 degrees and certificates were awarded to high school students last year in our community. Again, lots of them in the skilled trades, the autos and the nurse aides and the med preps. Your future EMTs and firefighters that are out there, many of them got their schooling while in high school with Ames Community College, which is pretty impressive. And of course, this is always the fun number. I think where's Chuck? He's over here somewhere. But we saved our community $2.52 million in tuition savings through our concurrent enrollment mechanism by offering these partnerships with our high school. So that's $2.52 million of Ames tuition that our community did not have to pay in order to get these things to happen. So when we think about the vision, the mission, the purpose, I think concurrent enrollment high school programs does it very, very well. The last slide, and I'm happy to take questions here. What's next for us? We got some great things happening. I think one of the things that we're going to focus on for the next year or two is how do we better define success with concurrent enrollment? And I think one of the things that we're struggling with a little bit is students that engage with our concurrent enrollment experience. What happens to them next? How many of them, maybe take a class or two and then go on and get a job? How many of them take a couple of classes or get a certificate and then come to Ames and continue on? How many of them go on to a 4-year out of state? Right now, we have a very big macro picture view. Here's what we can tell you. 15% of all the students come back to Ames Community College after they take a concurrent enrollment experience. But here's a kicker. Lots of these students while they're in high school, they already graduated from Ames. So where did they go? Are they in the workforce? Did they go on to a 4-year institution? Some of those things. So we're hopeful with the transition to Workday, a little bit of different ways of looking at data that we'll be able to sit here next year and tell you some more stories about how the impact of concurrent enrollment had on students without having them necessarily coming to Ames and graduating from Ames or doing something of that nature. Right now, we focus a lot on matriculation, which is incredibly important, but I think we're only looking at one slice of the pie right now. So our goal over the next couple of years is just to really come up with a really great way to define success and how we want to quantify the success of our programs. Because the growth is there. We want to see what that second piece of that puzzle is. Finally, there's a few folks on this team over here. I am just taking all the credit and I deserve none of it. I have about half my team over here. Laura, Lisa, Dale, Jamie, and John. These 5 folks are half of the high school program team. Yes, stand up so everybody can see you. These are the folks that make all of this happen on a day-to-day basis. We literally wouldn't be able to do without those 5 folks over there. So with that, thank you for a few minutes and I'm available for any questions.
Yeah, Mark, you got a question?
The 3,900 students this last year, what was the population of Ames?
I'm gonna have to look over here. I think the percentage.
9,500?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
What was our population last year?
Our unduplicated head count,
9,500
95.
students.
Yeah, actually, no, it's just under 8,000, just under 8,000.
Tell me we're not 50% concurrent enrollment.
Not
No,
quite. We're at probably low 40s,
Yeah.
and depending on what
That's what I
metric you're looking
Low
at.
40s.
Those. But it's a
Okay.
large chunk of our student population.
Wonderful. Those student success stories later on, how do you capture, do you have their emails where you can buy them a cup of coffee and
Yeah.
say, hey, tell us what you're doing?
I think that's probably a question a lot of us grapple with here at the college. They have such great experiences here and we get to hear them at the beginning of all the board meetings, but oftentimes they get what they get from us and they're on to the races and they're off to their next career. I think as a college, we're thinking through how we track students in general, how we capture their stories. Many of them come back to us and tell us the wonderful stories. The first group of students that graduate from ECA, several students have their master's degrees already, which is wild to think about at 20. So there are some of these stories anecdotally. We're trying to figure out a great way to get a macro level, really good data that we can track to help us define that success. So we have the anecdotals. We're looking for a little bit more of a systemic way to track that.
Ask Starbucks. They can help you with this.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Gene, I think you had a question.
Yeah, Gene.
I just want to say how proud it makes me to know that I've played a small part in achieving numbers like this. And I think this is what makes it worthwhile spending the hours that we do volunteering our time to move this forward. And
yeah,
in the last couple of years, we've made such progress. So congratulations. Impressive.
Congratulations to that team up there.
Yep. Heidi, did you have a question?
I don't have a question. I just would like to congratulate you on a great program and everyone in the early college academy. That's pretty amazing. 100% high school rate and then 87% AA.
It's amazing.
You're doing something right. So.
It's a
and
special
Ross,
building for
sounds
sure.
like Ross is really helping.
Ross was a big, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice job. Chuck Jensen, Vice President of Administrative Services, and his team would like to give us our annual grants report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein. You have in the president's information packet there, our annual Office of the Grants report. A couple quick highlights. We saw almost 11%, 12% increase in the grant activity from last year to this year. So we're a little over 5.6 million in activity. I first want to shout out, I always forget to do this when I start a presentation on one of my offices. I always want to shout out to Malone Miller, our grants manager, and Jen Seedorf, our assistant controller, who are part of the grants office, and also Cindy Brock, who provides administrative staff associate support for the grants office. We have the report lined out in 6 different areas. I won't go through each of those areas. It's laid out pretty succinctly in the report. And between Nick's report and Ray's commentary too, on a lot of the exciting ones that I would talk about are how we're to be mentioned as far as, you know, the JED program, the Colorado First and Existing Industry grants that run through Nick's area. So there's a lot of activity that happens. And I like to say that the grants office is kind of the administrative function behind this, providing the grant support, the grant accounting, the grant reporting on the financial things. And so again, as my whole division is a support division, this grants office, of course, is a support to all these programs that were highlighted so eloquently today by several individuals on the college here. So it's if there's any particular grant that you have a particular question on, I'm happy to answer what I can or refer to others who are in the program area or get information back to you. But again, a successful year, and we continue to move forward. I'll stand for any questions.
Hi, Chuck. Really good report. How does, I may not have the correct terminology, how do the grants function with Governor Polis's new, I don't know if it's a mandate yet, that he's going to help give money for students to go to community colleges? Well, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Trustee Wendell, embedded in several of these on the report, and I'll highlight some of them that are already directly connected to past legislation. And then you'll start to see in the next year's report, the new legislation that came out this year. And so a couple that are refer back to specific items that came out of Denver and the governor's office and the state legislature. The Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative, Finish What You Started, is tied to state money coming from the legislature. The Care Forward Colorado, that's our big one right now, where that's for all the health professions and EMT, where those students can come to Ames or to any community college for tuition fee free. And the big one now that we're working on is it's called Career Colorado. It's the same type of thing where the state is providing money that pays for tuition fees and other associated costs with degree and certificate programs for students. So yeah, the state of Colorado has done a lot of wonderful things in the last couple of years, not only with COVID money, but now with state money as they go into the next fiscal year. So those are a couple of the big ones. I'm just looking through here real quick to see if I missed any. But that's where they do show up in here. Those types of grants are reported here, and you'll see additional ones from this past legislative session in our report next year. Good question. Thank you.
Any other questions for Chuck? Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Also in your packet, you will see the president's meetings of note. This is a really long list because it starts from after your last board meeting, which was in May, through to yesterday. So that's why the list is so long, and photos from Stampede and AFIT team and big balloon builds and meeting with Congresswoman, Greeley Pride, Boys and Girls Club, Dancing with the Stars. Any questions on that part of the president's report? Okay. And then we have our employee report. Are there any supervisors in the audience have new employees that they would like to introduce? Please on to the podium.
Hello, Dr. B, board. My name is Grant Bickford. I am the ITSC Service Tech Manager. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Giles Ratliff. He is our new level 1 tech. He is an Ames alumni. He was with us throughout his tenure at school as a work study, then became a contingent worker, and thankfully just a couple months ago accepted a full-time position with us.
Good afternoon. I'm Les Weemers. I'm the Assistant Director of Campus Safety and Security, and I'd like to introduce 2 new employees to our Campus Safety and Security Department. We've got David Vogel. He's the new Supervisor of Campus Safety for the Greeley campus. And then this is Ken Baltrip. He is going to be one of our safety and security technicians, and he will mostly be working events and kind of supervising all of our new events, making sure those goes off without a hitch. So between the 2 of them, I'm thinking we probably have somewhere around 40-45 years of law enforcement experience between the 2 of them. So we have great experience coming to Ames College.
So I'm happy and proud to introduce Dr. Larry Pekowski, who's our Vice President for Student Engagement, Inclusion, and Success, who as of tomorrow is here 1 month, comes to us from Polk University in Florida, and I'm going to ask him to say a couple words about his experience. Larry.
Thank you. Certainly, first and foremost, I would think you haven't come from Central Florida for the lovely weather, in Colorado for my reception. As I've shared with a couple of you, every time someone here says that it's humid, I'm just like, you don't know what humidity is, but it is a privilege to be here at Ames Community College. For the last 8.5 years, I have served at Polk State College in Lakeland, Florida. And Trustee O'Hara's brother lives in Lakeland, so we have a connection. But I started at Polk as the Dean of Student Services on the Winter Haven campus, and have spent the last couple of years as Associate Vice President of Student Services prior to coming here. Originally from North Carolina, which is probably why I don't sound like I'm from Florida, but relocated to Colorado, and certainly looking forward to the opportunity here. Have a great team in place, and I think you've had the opportunity to hear some of the great work that they're doing today alone. But certainly bring with it a bulk of experience, not only in student affairs, but the registrar's office and admissions. I did my doctoral work, at Florida State University, where I have a doctorate in education and educational leadership and policy studies. He's a UF guy, you know, Gators and Seminoles, we don't get along. But certainly really thrilled with the opportunity here at Ames, that the work that our team is doing, the successes of our students, and all those kind of things. Look forward to helping to bring the SACE division in collaboration with my other colleagues up to new levels and to new heights of success. And certainly very privileged for the opportunity to join the team here as well.
Thank you, Larry, and welcome. Anyone else? New employees? No? Thank you. That concludes the president's report, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. B. And thank you all for your reports, all the information. Next on the agenda is reflections and comments from board members about Ames. So this is specifically to Ames. Does anybody have any comments they would like to make today? Marilyn?
I know I didn't say a whole lot during a lot of it, but I kept sitting here going, wow.
Mhm.
I mean, each time, and I look at the Alquist and we talk about innovation and we talk about the community impact, and it's still wow. It's been a fun day, very proud day. Thanks for all the work you do.
Very good. Heidi?
I can probably say exactly what Marilyn said. Usually I write some notes down, so I remember what I'm going to say at the end, but I had no time. I was fully engrossed. The information was wonderful. The numbers are good. It's an exciting time to be here at Ames. And so thank you to all your hard work, and we look forward to this coming year.
Thank you, Heidi. Anyone else? Well, I would certainly echo what's been said. This has been an awesome day. It really has. And a very proud day to hear about what all's going on, what Dr. Bornstein and her team are doing here at Ames, and the recognition that we're getting basically across the nation. It seems like every time we have a fantastic program come up, we find that we have reached out even further. So kudos to you all. Kudos to Ames Community College. It's a fabulous institution, and we should all be very, very proud to be a part of it. So I know I certainly am. Thank you all. Anybody else? Mark?
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Lyle. Golly, the graphic arts student. Oh, golly, she got my last pen, Jerry. I need some more pens. That was a great story. I was in the top 10 club. I mean, we've been here, Lyle and I, 7.5 years, and that was a tearjerker for sure. And great presentation. The graphics today, they were so easy to read, and they made sense, and it wasn't like a bunch of, well, sometimes they're a little bit more harder to understand. Early college. I think Lyle was 105 students when you and I kind of
Something like that. Yeah.
370 now. That's a big change in 7.5 years. That's every 2 years. It gets another 100 students or so. And the demographics in that organization is great, because it's a lot of Hispanic students that are first year college students, and that's a great success story. We want to claim on that diversity, and of course concurrent enrollment, my squirrel word. Very impressive. Thank you back there, and Nicholas, thank you. All the staff that does that work. What we do to affect our community is through those programs, because they reach not only back into our high schools, but they also enable our universities to grab our students and continue forward. So we are kind of the tipping point for this region, and we're very proud of you guys and what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else? Okay. Next is assessment of the board meeting. What did we learn? What worked? What didn't work? All those things you see listed there in front of you on your agenda. Did we receive the information we needed? Did everybody have an opportunity to speak? So, and did the board speak with one voice? Any comments on any of those? None? I think we did a great job. I think we've gotten into this assessment. I think we look for things as we go through, and I think it's good to have that. I always read it before I come into the meeting to kind of remind me of what we should be looking, excuse me, what we should be looking for and what we should be making sure that we do and maybe don't do. But anyway, I thought we did a great job today. It was a great meeting. It really was. And everybody out there did a great job. Everybody that came and spoke to us was very well prepared. had great information, so very good day. Hey, if there's no other comments, I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I would move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Please have a great day, the rest of it.